guys, it's Nurse Jet, Nursing the Truth. I hope everyone is having a great Thursday. Here I am with little Sunny in my little chair again, people. Took some time to myself today, been meditating, catching up with family gossip and all that good stuff. Anyway, fighting with Sunny today. She wants to get out and try to break out of the fence, but Nurse Jay's here to say, come back on in, Sunny. I don't have time for this. Because I've got more news for you guys. I'm just sitting here thinking after listening to another good scholar that you need to maybe listen to on YouTube. His name is Dr. Walter Williams. Very good guy. He talks a lot about Egypt and all the jargon that they want to say bad about it, and also about historical things and lies in the Bible. And I just come home and thinking about that, what he said, and I know he's a pretty good guy. He has a lot of good authorship and scholarship. And I'm just sitting here going, well, what do I want to talk about today? What are the lies and what are the truths? And what is truth? Well, let's think about something. If a group of people are going to be talking about how they were in bondage and how they were set free by God, and the power of the hand that, opened up the Red Sea. And then these people have an organization that you can go to and look at all this information. They give you dates, they give you times. And so if you want to kind of put the chronological order that they want to give you, then you need to have some historical information yourself. So, what am I going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about the quote unquote Exodus that our little children learn about in Sunday school. But if the parents were awake, like Nurse J, then they would really tell the children the truth. But as you know, truth seekers, they don't want you to know the real truth. So if you go to Chabad.org, CHHABAD.org, and you just type in Exodus, they, my friends, are giving you the year that this Exodus happened. Now you will get, Exodus from other people from 1750 BCE, 1350 BCE. You might get 1446 or 1456 BCE. It's just a lot of hogwash. But anyway, you might find some little kernels of truth in the lie. And so Nurse J is bringing this to you, and I hope that you will search this yourself and come to a conclusion of what's really going on. So I did, and pretty interesting. Now, Shabbat.org says that the Exodus happened in 1313 BCE. And this is what it says. At the stroke of midnight of Nisan 15 of the year of 244-8, from creation, which is 1313, 210 years after Jacob settled in Egypt, after the covenant between the parts, God visited the last of the 10 plagues on the Egyptians, killing all their firstborn that evening, which has never been chronicled, which never has been spoken about. The children of Israel conducted the first Seder of history, eating the roasted meat of the Passover, offering the bitter herbs, and sprinkling the blood on the sacrifice of their doorpost as a sign that God will pass over their homes, inflicting the plague upon the Egyptians. Pharaoh's resistance to free them was broken, and he virtually chased his people off the land. Several million, 600,000 adult males, plus the women and children, and a large mixed multitude who joined them, left Egypt on that day and began the 50-day trek to Sinai and their birth as God's chosen people. Now, what is very interesting about this is that it says that the 600,000 adult males, women, and children, and a large mixed multitude. Now let's see what else they have to say. In 1313 on Shabbat.org, it says that the Pharaoh corners the Jews. It says, Pharaoh's pursuit of the Jews. See Jewish history for the 18th of Nisan, ended on this day on the shores of the Red Sea. A terrified Jewish nation divides into several factions, some advocating mass suicide, others wanted to surrender and return to Egypt. The bolder ones prepared to battle the Egyptians, while others advised the nation to pray. God, though, otherwise, he instructed the Jews to simply proceed onwards, despite the sea which stood in their path. The Jews complied, and the entire following night they went through the parted waters of the Red Sea. See Jewish history for the 21st of Nisan. So they're giving you this Shabbat, this Jewish website is giving you the date. Now, this is the organization that is the big deal. So, not two different or three different or four different organizations of the same seed is not going to give you different dates, because you have to keep a story alive. But who was the Pharaoh of Egypt in 1313 BCE, friends? Let's take a look. The great Pharaoh in the year of 1313 that supposedly had cornered the Jews at the Red Sea was General Horemheb. Nowhere in Egyptian history was Pharaoh Horemheb chasing people and fighting people in the Red Sea. No Pharaoh has been drowned at the Red Sea and has been washed up. So that's a bunch of hogwash. That's number one, lie. Now, how are we putting this story together with the Akhenaten, Moses crossing the Red Sea? Well, Nurse J is going to make it very easy for you. Let's see. I'm trying to sneeze. Oh, excuse me, guys. I've been taking some medicine today. So sorry about that. So let's think about the Akhenaten Moses thing. As we know, Akhenaten wanted to only worship the Aten. There's really no difference, friends, between Aten, Amun, Amun Ra, Ra, or just simply Amun or Atun. They're all the same, friends. And different dynasties worship the different sun disk names. Now, he didn't want to worship Amun. Now, his name is Amenhotep the fourth, that changed his name to Akhenaten. So now we have a situation to where he totally tells everybody to quit worshiping Amun, tearing the temples down, relieving the priesthood of their duties, and the whole country starts going down. So him and a bunch of people that used to be in the Amun priesthood and his family and other people left from Thebes and went to Amarna, which is, a little bit by Cairo, maybe in the middle of Cairo and Thebes, called the city of the Aten, where Aten gleams. And over the years of building Amarna, he took a lot of the money to build his holy city, per se. So these were Egyptians that left Thebes to go with Akhenaten. Now, during the time that these Egyptians went with Akhenaten, there were also other people at Akhenaten. There was Bedouins that were in the army that watched and protected Akhenaten and his family. And, there were other people of other tribes or other nations that followed along with him and his new ideas. Not to say that these ideals were already in place from the very beginning of the Egyptian religion, in the very beginning. They already knew that there was one source. They knew the all was in one and one was in all. They knew that God was in the mind and that you had a direct connection to the God. And so we are all God. So, anywho. So now you have a situation to where, which is the next Pharaoh before Horemheb, Akhenaten, he had to be dethroned. And so the Egyptian military, overthrew Akhenaten, and he had to split Hitel from from Amarna, and left. So King Tut, his son, through the wife Ki, who was not Nefertiti's son. There's so many conflicting stories, like it could either be I's son, or it was Akhenaten and Ki, or it was T and Akhenaten's son. So many things, because there were a lot of inbred situations. No, anyway, whatever. So Tut takes the thing about 8 or 9 years old, and he reigns until he was about 18, 19 years old, about a 10-year reign. But anyway, I had to step in because he was too young. So I, with the military, Horemheb was the general at the time, forced Akhenaten out. So there's where you get your Moses story, where he flees and he's out in the desert with these people. So no one really knows where Akhenaten died, where he was buried. Now in the Egyptian Museum, it shows his sarcophagi, they want to say, where the name was taken out of the sarcophagi, and that Horemheb, when he became, Pharaoh, he took out and erased all of his name as much as possible, and tore down everything of the Aten worship from Tut, Ai, and Akhenaten. Now he did like Amenhotep III, Horemheb did. So he didn't do anything to his stuff. But at the very end, when Amenhotep III was getting ill and he had a lot of health problems, I do believe that he kind of was reverting to the Aten worship because Akhenaten's mother was an Aten worshiper. And so Queen T, she was a pretty tough customer and was reigning and pretty much told Pretty Boy what to do. So anyway, that's another story. So now you have a people that's saying that it happened in 1313. The people of today. Now, what you have to understand, friends, is the people of today is not the people that were in ancient history. So let's just get that straight. The people that we're talking about today that attached itself to Judaism, which is a form of Egyptian religion, spiritualism, in some form, mixed in with some Babylonian traditions. They are not the real people of the ancient time. They are from Khazaria, Ashkenazi, in the Caucasus Mountains region, people. So, when we're talking about the people of the ancient, I'm not putting them in that pile of today. So what you have to understand is even in the Bible where it talks about these different tribes, even the tribe of Naphtali, if you go into the BibleHub.com and you do your research on that, it says an Egyptian tribe. Now, why would a Jew, like we're thinking of today, why would they be considered an Egyptian tribe? Because, friends, these are two different entities. Okay? Akhenaten left Thebes and Amarna with Egyptians, with another mixed multitude of other people, Bedouins, Midianites, Canaanites, whatever the deal is. Because, see, during the reign of Akhenaten, Egypt was over Canaan as well. And there's a lot of Amarna letters that was going back and forth through the kings and people over there that was put in place for Egypt. So, guys, it's a lot to take in and a lot to understand, but you have to be there and you have to read and do your research. Akhenaten was the first person in history that ever presented just focusing on one God. What you have to understand, it's not a man God. It was classifying the sun as the one God, which they already knew this, but he made a big deal about the Aten. And even though Aten and Amun are the same, and Atum is the same, he just really went after it. So no one knows where his body is. Now they want to give you some BS that his body's in the Cairo Museum and this is Akhenaten, this is Nefertiti. Well, we have the Tut man, and I've seen it. I've been there, took pictures in front of Tut, the whole 9 yards. So we saw Tut. And so it's like none of this is recorded in Horemheb. But what is recorded is the stele of restoration by King Tut and I. Now I'm trying to get to my papers here, people, so just bear with me. A lot of information to go through. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but you can find this information on angelfire.com. It's called The Restoration Stele of Pharaoh uh, King Tut or Tutankhamun. Um, I'm not going to read the very beginning of it, but anyway, it says, "May he be given life like Ra forever and ever, beloved of Amun, Lord of the two lands, foremost in Karnak, beloved of Antum, Lord of the two lands, of the Heliopolis, of Rahar-Kuti, and Ptah south of his wall, Lord of Memphis and of Thoth, Lord of hieroglyphs, literally words of the gods, the one who appeared upon the throne of the living Horus like his father Ra." And it gives just the restoration of what's happened to the lands, what had happened through the strife of, you know, just everything. Um, and so it also says, okay, that was about okay. But anyway, you can read it, y'all. It's long. It talks about that the gods had turned their backs upon them, and it says, oh, here it goes. The good God, son of Amun, son of Kamantuf, the good son, the holy egg whom Amun created, father of the two lands, the one who makes the one who made him, the Boz of Heliopolis, united in order to form him to be king forever and ever as Horus, living immortality. He is the effective king who did what was good for his father and all the gods, who restored everything that was ruined to be his monument forever and ever. He has vanquished chaos from the whole land and has restored Ma'at to her place. He has made lying a crime, the whole land being made as it was at the time of creation. So, you're putting things in there that you can figure out. But if you don't know the real history, then you're going to be left and kicked to the curb. So he put in there very slightly, he vanished chaos from the whole land and has restored Ma'at, and he restored everything that was ruined to be his monument forever and ever. So he talks about that. Excuse me, guys. I'm just not doing good today. And then Horemheb, when Tut died and I took over, and like I said, when these people were out in the wilderness, and you got to understand that Egypt had Canaan as a vassal state, and there was Egyptian provinces in Canaan, and these people that were Egyptians and of mixed multitude went to the Egyptian provinces of Canaan and stayed. They were exiled because of this heretical thing that was going on, and I knew about it, and they called I the Lord, and I took care of them and oversaw them as well. A good book you need to read is called Hebrew and the Exodus by Roger Saba, Sabbah. It's on the internet for free. You can read a little bit about this as well. So it's a lot to know. Also, the great edict of Horemheb, when all of this took place, it says that after I passed and Horemheb became, the Pharaoh, he said, His Majesty, this is one of the scribes of the great edict, it says, His Majesty took counsel with his heart and how he might expel evil and suppress lying. The plans of His Majesty were an excellent refuge, repelling violence behind and delivering the Egyptians from the oppressors or oppressions which were among them. Behold, His Majesty spent the whole time seeking the welfare of Egypt and searching out instances of oppression in the land. Came the scribe of His Majesty. Then he seized palette and roll. He put it into writing according to all that His Majesty the King himself said. He spoke as follows: My Majesty commands concerning all instances of oppression in the land. It's a long edict. He didn't like lying. He didn't like stealing. He wanted things to go back to the laws and the ways of Ma'at. He didn't like people being ugly to one another, stealing anything bad about the stealing vegetables, food. He didn't like anything going dirty with the high priest. He oversaw things, and so it was a good edict. And so, anyway, friends, that's what it is. Um, so if the Bible's going to tell you that Pharaoh died and he was washed up on the sea or whatever, Horemheb, if by their standards telling you it was Horemheb, friends, he didn't die. He ruled on. And so check it out. I mean, I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm giving you the information. The Edict of Horemheb is on touregypt.net. And you can read the edict for yourself that he put when he became Pharaoh. And you can read the Stele of Restoration by Tut. Your Moses is Akhenaten. He left with the Egyptians. He left with a mixed multitude of different people and tribes in other places. Friends, you have to understand this was a thoroughfare between Canaan and Egypt, the Levant. Different people lived in Egypt. It's not just Egyptians alone. It's just like Louisiana. I might be a real Louisianian, but we have people from Texas, we have people from Mexico, we have people from different countries. So, friends, it is what it is. And so also think about this, friends. Your high priest of Osiris, or your high priest in general in Egypt, was called Yehuds. Gnaw on that for a little bit. Until next time, Hotep and Ashe. And we'll see you next time, guys. Have a great day.